Hey everyone, I design user interfaces for websites. You might have seen my work.
Because I cannot wear my going out thong if I've got sand in my patootie.
That's why Travelocity's so great. You can compare 4 hotels at once, plus there's tons of user reviews to help you. See, wouldn't that make a great spokesperson?
Yep, that was mine. To date, it's still the only doctor recommendation that I've ever gotten. By the way, don't you hate it when they don't include the browser in those screenshots for like marketing? My team had poured weeks into building a presentation for a major prospective client. It was a monumental effort, and I built dozens of screens to help our team sell our vision. In our presentation, we told a story about a person that wanted to plan and book a trip using our customer's technology. A large part of this story involved our main character traveling to Miami, and we'd built a story planning a beach vacation, and all of the prototypes featured Miami. But then, one day before the presentation, oh no, I get a frantic call from the project manager saying, "We gotta make some changes." This really could have been a nightmare for me. Our presentation was, hold on. Let me just get that in there. So our presentation was for a travel shopping site, and the first big change that I had to make was to swap the destination. That meant replacing city names, hotel names, and descriptions, and also swapping photos of sunny beaches for snowy mountains. The changes were spread across multiple prototypes as well. A novice would probably edit each text field individually, which is not a great approach for a couple of reasons. It's kind of slow, it's super boring, and it's also really error prone. If you end up in a situation like this where you need to change a lot of text content, use local variables. These are data values that you can set to display inside of text fields. So this means that you can create a local variable, set the value, and then display that value in one or more text fields. It also means that if you ever need to change the value, you can change it in all of the text fields at once by just changing the local variable's value. This meant that when I had to change Miami International Airport to Zurich Airport or things like that, I could just change the local variable and the value would change in all of the text fields. So it cut down hours of manual editing to just a couple of minutes, and I could be sure that there were not going to be any errors that snuck through. So you can see the local variables dialog here, all of the different text strings that are in this presentation. You might see some other stuff because this is for the video, but just ignore that. But look, you can just look at it and review very easily all of the values that you have to make sure that there's not some sneaky one that you missed that's in just like one place in your presentation. You do have to plan ahead if you want this to really pay off for you. And a good rule to think about is whether or not user input might affect the value of a text field. That's probably a good candidate for implementing with a local variable. Another change I had to make to the presentation was to change all the destination images from beaches to snow. A novice would probably import, resize, and replace the images manually, which is bad for exactly the same reasons as replacing text content manually is. It's slow, it's boring, and it's error prone. I mean, look how boring this is to watch. But you can treat images in your Figma designs almost exactly like they are local variables. Just use color styles to manage your images. Import your image into Figma, and then in the right sidebar, select Apply Styles and Variables. Create a new color style for your image, give it a name. Then apply that color style to an object, and that's it. So now if you need to swap an image, you can edit the color style, and just like local variables, change it any place that you have that color style applied, just like a local variable. The next thing I had to do was to redesign the airplane seat map to match the client's branding. I had to change colors, icons, and some minor design elements. The best way to approach complex elements like this, and elements that have a lot of repeated or similar elements, is to use nested components. So let me show you how I built the seat map, and then I'll explain why it's a time saver. So first, I built the seat component itself with all the different variants for each state. So like filled, extra legroom. Second, I put them into groups. These are sort of subcomponents. And I used auto layout to control their spacing so that they would be responsive. Third, I wrapped those seat groups into row components that also included aisle numbers and also row treatments like exit rows. And then for the exit rows, I set their icons to float outside of the normal bounds of the seat row using ignore auto layout. And that allowed me to display exit row treatments without changing the spacing of the seats. This nested component approach means that you can update colors or styles once and see the changes everywhere. And if you use auto layouts, which you absolutely should be using, then the spacing will stay consistent no matter the adjustments that you make. I build basically everything with components. When I do design work, doesn't really matter what it is. My workspace is mostly purple outlines. If you look at this demo file, everything is a component, like pretty much everything. There are benefits to this approach that I might cover later in a different video, but the point is that like everything else that I'm talking about in this video, building with components and auto layouts will save you time, and it'll give you additional flexibility later if you need to make unforeseen changes. So here are the smarter Figma habits that saved my sanity during this project. Number 1, use variables for text that might change. Number 2, create color styles for your images. Number 3, leverage auto layouts for responsiveness. And 4, build with components for any reusable or repeated design elements. If you roll these habits into your normal workflow, you will absolutely save yourself time. You'll have more time for design. You'll spend less time doing boring maintenance. I promise. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please drop a like and share your own Figma tips in the comments for how you save time and sanity for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe for more design insights in the future, and I'll see you next time.